Get in, lads. Welcome back to the Full Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about Cucho Hernandez moving from Columbus Crew in the MLS to Real Betis. Mis Betigos over there. One of arguably the most important and biggest outbound transfers in Major League Soccer history. We're going to talk about what this means for Columbus, for Cucho, for the league, for Real Betis. We're going to cover all of it. But before we do, make sure to leave a comment down below your thoughts on Cucho's move over to La Liga in Spain. Obviously, leave a like on the video and make sure to subscribe and help us out because we are trying to get to 5K before the end of the year. So make sure to help us out if you haven't already.
Please. It's free. It's free.
It is. It is totally free.
Share with your friends. And tell your mom about us.
Yeah.
Tell your dad.
Yeah. Everybody. Cousin.
Grandma.
I don't know.
Grandpa. Girlfriend. Boyfriend. Everything in between.
Your dog. I don't know.
Your dog. Make your dog an account and subscribe with it.
Just for the sub.
And that's free too. Making a Gmail account.
There you go.
It is. Anyways, Cucho Hernandez moves to Real Betis. First, let's talk about what this means for Cucho. Okay, on a personal level, it's hard. It's hard. I think it's a great move for him. Right. I think Real Betis is a great, obviously a step up, a huge step up. But no, I'm just kidding. No, it's a great move. Cucho deserves to move to a top team. He was one of the best superstars in the league. If he stayed for much longer, he would have been on the Mount Rushmore of Major League stars, as people are saying currently. A fantastic goal scorer. And I am happy as an LAFC fan and a Betis fan. It's a fantastic move. Is he going to succeed, though, in Spain? He's had stints in Spain before. Wasn't the best for him. Is the Betis move in this point of his career what he needed and what will cement him as one of the best outbound MLS transfers of all time?
Wow.
It's a loaded question.
It's a lot of pressure. I'm gonna be honest, but a big part of it is also you can put a player on a team. Does the team click? Does it work with him? Does the manager like working with him, getting him to get in that in that zone? Betis are okay this year. They're mid-table. Can they get it moving? Will he be that thing to unlock them going forward? They have some great players in attack. They have Isco. They have Giovanni.
They have Anthony now. Balling. The Brazilian goat.
They have Anthony.
Can't forget that.
On Neymar's birthday too. The day we were recording this, you sent the
So they have some utility around him. If they can get Cucho to be firing even maybe like 3/4 of what he was doing in the MLS. They got somebody who's ready to keep growing, keep developing, and banging in goals. I like the move. I don't want to jump the gun yet because there's still so many unknowable factors. But I like the move, and I want to see how he gets on. And give him a game or two. It's a striker. Sometimes they don't always go off with a goal in the first game, even though we like to see
Jared Bowen, baby. Sorry,
Andres. You think Betis is the move for him?
I think it's good. I think he's been extremely consistent. I think it was time for the change, and I think Real Betis is a good move, especially with certain players they have. I think Anthony, we clown on him a lot in the footballing world community, but I think that might be a good move for him as well. And I think Real Betis was lacking a little bit of star power / attacking going forward, especially against better teams. Seeing them when I have seen them play. I think it's a good move for both parties, honestly. I think Columbus Crew gets the short end of the stick, unfortunately, in this situation.
Yeah.
Granted, guys, for people who are not MLS fans, the money allocation in terms of transfer fees is very whack. So this is why you see only this is a record transfer fee because, just the way money works in the MLS is very weird. But I digress. That's a whole video to get into itself, but it's huge. Who would they get with that money? I don't know. They've been knocking on the door for a while now in terms of making the MLS Cup final, and winning it, and then also just keep knocking, keep pursuing. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, but I think they got the short end of the stick on this one just purely because they get money, but just because of how the MLS works, it's kind of whack. So I'm interested in what Columbus Crew do with it. But I'm excited for Real Betis because I think this is a big addition, and I think. I'm not going to put too much pressure on him, but I think he'll start firing maybe towards the latter end of the season and then continues it into the next season, personally. But I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited for Real Betis, especially watching them, Pablo Fornals and all that jazz. A little biased, of course. But I'm excited.
Of course. Cucho Hernandez could be, I'm not saying will be, a complete game changer for Real Betis this season. Real Betis have been okay, like Diego said. They should be better. On paper, they have a really, really good team. And some of these players are showing up. A lot of these players in the attack are not. They can't score. Betis, that is one of the biggest issues, is their strikers cannot score. They have good strikers too. Vitor Roque, right? Brazilian wonder kid from Barcelona, has yet to really get it going. He's been decent, but he has yet to really start, kicking into gear. Bakambu, he's doing okay as well. You have Avila. You have Fornals, who has good games and sometimes doesn't show up. You have Eze, who should be... I'm sorry. You have the Moroccan Eze. He should be really good. He wears the number 10 shirt of Real Betis. He has a potential to be a solid winger, not just for Betis, not just for the Liga, but for the world. He just has not been showing up to the point where he's getting fraud shouts from other channels. I've been hearing the attack just is not looking good for Betis. Certified goal scorer. Yes, it is the MLS, but he still knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. I think Betis are going to benefit a lot from this because the only output they're getting really is from Isco and that midfield. You can't do that. You can't rely on that, especially if you want to finish in European spot. I think Cucho could be the difference between a mid-table finish and a European spot, even if that's Conference League. I think it was a great
Nothing
signing.
Wrong with the Conference League.
Nothing wrong at all. Nothing wrong at all.
Great competition.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. But he's a great signing. It's a great move for him. Gets him into a top team. I think he will thrive on that pressure. He has been a part of a Columbus Crew that has arguably been the best MLS team of the past 2 or 3, 4 years. Columbus Crew have been fantastic with Wilfred Nancy. They have a great system going. It's a shame that Cucho has to leave, but at some point it was going to happen, right? Good move for him. For Columbus, as it got brought up earlier, unfortunate. I think they could have got more for him. I think 13 million is a little short.
A lot of factors involved, though. I mean,
obviously a lot of factors, yeah.
I like how we mentioned in the last video. If you haven't seen it, I don't know which one's coming out first, but anyways, Diego mentioned it. The Liga MX, the transfer value that players go in between clubs, like 10 million, stuff like that. And then over here we get 13 million for top class, but one of the best strikers
for a superstar
in the league. Yeah, and then he goes for 13 million for in Europe. Just whack. But there's a lot of factors involved. One of them being, MLS. You could argue that plays a factor, and you'd be kind of ridiculous for Real Betis to be paying Santi Jimenez type money to make that transfer done. But there's other factors. Contract extension. They knew that Real Betis knew that Cucho's contract was done at the end of the season, so it's like. You know what I mean? They're either it's going to be a free transfer or let's get something out of it. So, and then there's other factors as well, but I'll let you guys touch upon that so I don't ramble the entire time.
No worries. Yeah, but I mean, like you said everything right. It's the MLS. I think if he had this output in many of the leagues, even Liga MX, he'd be worth 20 to 25 million, which I think is what he should have went for. I think 13 is a little short. Like I said, if he stayed in the MLS, he could have went down as one of the best, if not the best player of MLS history. When it was all said and done, Cucho Hernandez is a fantastic player. He is and has been one of, if not the best player on one of, if not the best teams in the MLS for a couple years now. So he fully deserves the move, but I do think 13 million is short. We talked about Cucho, we talked about Columbus, we talked about Real Betis. For Major League Soccer, though, an outbound transfer like this, I think will have insanely positive repercussions afterwards for years to come.
Saudi Arabia can never.
Amen, brother. I think that this transfer is hugely important for the immediate future of the MLS. Players have come and gone. More players have come than gone to and from bigger clubs. But for a player to go to a highly reputable team like Real Betis, right? No matter how good or bad they're doing this year, Real Betis is a big name in the footballing world, especially in Spanish football. I think it's a good sign, right? I think it's a good sign that a lot of players are going to begin that move. I think this move it's a predecessor of what we can expect for the likes of Riqui Puig when he moves back to Europe, inevitably.
Hopefully.
I think it's just a good sign. It just shows that players from the MLS, hopefully this works out well, have the ability to move to European teams and succeed. Right. So I think it's beneficial overall. Yes, the MLS is losing a big superstar, and arguably I've said this, I will say this, and I've seen a lot of people say this online too. He might be the biggest, it might impact the viewership a lot. It might be the biggest impact of viewership by a player, bar Messi, when Messi leaves. That's how big Cucho is. But still, I think net positive overall. I will sacrifice those viewers now for a better outlook later on.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Let's say Cucho goes over there. Let's say he saves Real Betis' season. Now, obviously, there's a lot of pressure to do that. I don't know if he's going to do that, but let's say he goes over there, scores, he finishes the season 10 plus goals in half a season stretch, right? Which you have 10 plus goals, 7 plus goals, maybe. I think people will start looking at the MLS, right? Clubs will start looking at the MLS, especially La Liga clubs. Again, they're starting to think, who can we poach from the MLS, because it's shown that they have the ability, and they're taught the ability, and they've practiced and the experience of the ability to compete in Europe. I think it's just a good sign overall. No matter what you're losing.
Alone.
Yeah, no matter what you're losing.
Soon.
I know.
He's going to be an even bigger transfer. I already have a pretty good gut feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it just shows that, Cucho, I think, is going to be the first of a new generation of outbound MLS transfers. He came to the MLS after not having a really good stint overseas in Europe. He had stints with multiple teams, and it just never really worked out well in the same way it did when I think he played in Colombia, right? Until he came to the MLS. I think it shows him, Ricky Puig, just to name a couple of players. It shows that they can do that. No, MLS is not just a retirement league anymore. You can jumpstart your league a little bit, your career a little bit.
Saudi. Hold that.
Yeah. Diego,
I like I love the move. I do think I understand the excitement here, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe we're jumping the gun a little bit. We saw Miguel Almiron move to Newcastle a few years ago. If anything, that was a bigger move than this is, and that didn't really start what you're saying is going to start now. So, and I don't get me wrong. Of course, I'm all for the MLS boom and of sending these players that develop and then sending to the bigger teams. At the end of the day, MLS is an easy league. While a lot of these players I do think are totally capable, and I think Cucho will do well in Real Betis. I want him to do well. We saw Almiron, who was great, who had a great partnership with Jose Martinez when they were at Atlanta United, who had like a crazy amount of assists, whatever. He struggled a lot. And yes, he had a few months spell with Newcastle, he was balling.
Yeah.
But overall, you could say that the transfer was not that much of a success. And I just, and maybe I'm just the cautious one here, and I'm just the devil's advocate. I just don't want to jump the gun. I think hopefully this is a big one that starts this boom that Elijah is preaching about. But I also just let's remember the cautionary tales here. Let's remember the things that didn't work out too well. No. And Almiron's the one that jumps to mind just because of he was a baller, and unfortunately Jose Martinez never joined him. He stayed in the MLS, so we never got to see him move out. But yeah. I just hope that this time this is the right fit for this MLS and specifically Cucho, and that it doesn't end up the way Almiron's ended up.
Yeah, you know what? It's a fair statement to make, but I will say, right, and I have a different player in mind that I want to compare him to, but I don't want to compare him to Miguel Almiron because when Miguel moved to the Premier League, it was a completely different league. Let's be honest. The MLS looked a lot different at the time than it is now. And that was only not that long ago, right? I think it was a bigger jump, way bigger jump from Atlanta to Newcastle than it is from Columbus to Real Betis, right? That's fairly obvious, you can say. So the stakes were high for Miguel Almiron. I think if he had moved to a La Liga team like Real Betis, I think we would have seen a lot better output. I want to compare Cucho, though, to like Tate Castellanos. Tate Castellanos is one of the best strikers in the league for NYCFC. A lot of caps. Looking at his stats right now, I have him pulled up right here. 59 goals, 24 assists in 134 appearances for NYCFC. Great return. Moved to he now plays for Lazio and is having a killer season right now. He has 11 goals, 6 assists, and 28 appearances for Lazio, a big club in the Serie A. That's where I kind of see Cucho maybe wanting to achieve. I could see it happening. I'm not saying it will, but I think you look at the players like Tate Castellanos, and we know it's possible. We're seeing it right now. It took him a little bit. He didn't start this good right away when he moved to Europe. It took him a little bit, but I think it's very possible for Cucho to move to Europe in a highly reputable league, a top 5 league, and succeed in the way that Tate is. Miguel Almiron, it's different. Also, he's a different kind of player, and for a completely different league and a completely different jump, which is why I think Cucho now is going to be the start of something completely different. Miguel Almiron, just at the time, he was like the only player that could move abroad to a top 5 league and excel in the way in the way that he did. Now you got a lot of players that can. A lot of players are going to move back or move to European leagues. And I think Cucho is just going to be the start of that. I think another reason too is a lot of clubs maybe have seen Miguel's time at Newcastle and was like, okay, so what? So the MLS didn't provide him with well enough development. But I think now you look at Cucho, and I think it's a completely different story, hopefully. And you're gonna look at him and say, okay, different kind of profile player, way more successful, hopefully in Europe, and then they start moving on with it. I think teams should already be doing that with Tati Castellanos. So I think Cucho moving over there is just going to have that much more of an impact. Whereas Miguel was maybe the first of his time to say. Obviously, there's probably before that did the same thing, but that was a big deal. That was a big deal. I don't think Cucho's going to be back in the MLS within 5-6 years in the way that Miguel Almiron is. Obviously, he's back with Atlanta United right now as of a few weeks, like a week. I don't think Cucho's going to do the same thing. I don't know if Cucho's going to come back until later in his career. But remains to be seen. It is a fair assessment to make, though, right? We've seen this before in some capacity. Hopefully, we don't see it again. Hopefully, it's a completely different thing, which I think it will be. I think Cucho has the ability to be really, really good for Real Betis. And like I said, it's a good move. It's not moving to Liverpool right now and hoping to excel there, or even Newcastle. It's moving to Real Betis, the mid-table La Liga club, who really can only go up from here. Hopefully, I pray to God. And I do think Cucho could provide that. A lot less pressure. So I think Cucho overall is going to be a really good move. And like I said, for the MLS, just fantastic overall. Increases that relationship with other leagues, which is what you want, especially La Liga, which I do think the MLS needs to get a foothold into pretty soon and start sending a lot more players there. Overall, net positive move for everybody, except maybe Columbus Crew fans. If you're watching and you're a Columbus fan, I apologize.
I don't.
It's obviously it wasn't up to you, so be it. As an LAFC fan talking to you, so be it.
At least you're not a Mavericks fan. That's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah. Rest in peace, the few Dallas and Columbus fans out there that exist, because I'm sure there are some. Rest in peace.
Pure heartbreak when the news broke on both fronts.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, though. We'll end this off here pretty soon, but I'm curious to see how Columbus does spend that money. If they do, Wilfred Nancy, they also got rid of Christian Ramirez, going to Diego's LA Galaxy, which is a great move for him, which we can talk about in a future video. Another big system player for Wilfred Nancy. Two big attacking players for Columbus Crew that will now be missing in the future. I think obviously, they need to replace that if they want any sort of success that like they've had over the past few years in all competitions, not just MLS, but Champions Cup. I don't know if are they in the Leagues Cup or in the Open Cup this year. I think the Leagues Cup. Either one,
both.
whatever they're in, they need improvements there. Leave your opinions on the transfer down below in the comments section. Of course, we're going to be reading and reacting to as many as we can. Leave a like if you enjoyed the move, because again, I think it's a good one. Make sure to subscribe to us to help us out and help us reach our goal of 5K by the end of the year. We would appreciate it a lot. Again, it's free. Get your dog. What is so free that Andres is just destroying everything. Yeah.
Whoops.
Get your dog an account. Make sure he subscribes as well. And yeah, hopefully see you guys in future MLS, Real Betis, Columbus, CONCACAF, soccer, football videos anytime soon. See you guys in the future.
Peace.
Take care, guys.